This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at the Mecklenburg Lake District. But before that, this video is brought to you by Chris Miller and Galcomp Gamer. Thank you for being farm barons. The Mecklenburg Lake District map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let's read a little bit of the description. Welcome to the Mecklenburg Lake District. All standard functions of FS22 are available. There are 12 fields and 3 meadows. There is a farm with 2 cow sheds, a biogas plant, and 1 silo. Seed, lime, and fertilizer can be purchased on the map. And then there is a rather interesting note. It says the train is only decorative object on the map. Now, I find that interesting because I thought for sure when I was doing my original look around this map that we had the ability to rent the train. So we are going to try to remember to take a look at that during this video. Let's go ahead and jump on into the map. We are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps. They are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, and field calculator. Let's go ahead and pull up the log while the map loads up. I will say I loaded this map in farm manager mode and start from scratch. And in both of those play modes, the map is going to look exactly how you see it here in new farmer mode. With the exception, there is no starting equipment, and you do not own any land at the start. If you play this map on console, you'll be maybe happy or displeased to know that you start out using 1,188 slots. And that is before you add any mods or other machinery. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. We'll zoom on out, and probably the first thing you're going to notice is this map is going to use a fair bit of field size. Lots of larger fields on this map, and very irregular shaped fields are available on this map. If we take a look at the lands area, you'll see that we own the typically unbuyable land as well as the main farm here. That's going to include the road network as well as lots of the city and sell points. That can be sold for $0, so it can be bought for $0 in Farm Manager or start from scratch as well. Now, if we take a look here, Field 12 is a field we own at the start. It is 43.86 acres in size, just under $1.5 million to buy. We also own a meadow down here that is 27.28 acres in size, $309,000. We do own the biogas plant at the start in new farmer mode. It is available for purchase for $66,600. This map does include all of the standard crop types available to us here on Farm Sim 22. And if we take a further look at our field farmland, this is the farmland lease mod. This is going to show us the size of all of the buyable farm lands, and it is going to mention which fields are connected to those farmlands if they also have fields attached. As you can see, we own farmland ID number 10, which includes field 12, and that is 17.75 hectares in size. We also own farmland 1, 2, and 3, and 21, but none of those have fields associated. Then we have down here as far as field 11. In farmland 11, it is 16.61 hectares. We have field 10, which is associated with farmland 14, which is 26.5. Then our largest plot of land on the entire map, other than the unbuyable land, is going to be farmland 18, which includes field 2, which is 56 hectares in size, and it's going to cost you $1.5 million. Now, if we just take a look at the fields themselves, you can see the 12 fields that are available here on the map. These do not include the unnumbered meadows, and we can see how large each particular field is right here on this screen. If we take a look at our crop calendar, you can see this map includes the standard base game crop calendar for using seasonal growth. And if we look at our prices screen, you're going to see that we do have the ability to sell most of our base game crops here on the map. We do have the ability to sell grapes and olives, which is often missed. But for whatever reason, we cannot sell cotton on this particular map. We move on down, you can see that we do have the ability to sell eggs, wool, and milk. Then we move over into our production areas, and you're going to see that we are, well, there is a few things that we can and cannot sell. Specifically, we are not going to be able to sell cakes. We also do not have the ability to sell fabric or clothing, cereal, chocolates for whatever reason, and then furniture. Those are all also items that we cannot sell on this map. We do have the ability to buy bulk seed, lime, fertilizer, and herbicide. And then we also have a stone crusher available to us. Take a look at our vehicle overview. You can see that all of the equipment is owned. None of it is leased. There is a few pieces of equipment that have a few little hours on them, but overall the maintenance is not too terrible bad. While we do own 2 of the large self-feeding cow barns, we do not have any cows at the start. This map does have contracts available. And as far as production chains, we start out owning the sugar mill, the grain mill, the bakery, the oil, cereal factory, carpentry, dairy, and the biogas plant. In fact, these are all productions that are available on the map. So we own all of the productions at the start in new farmer mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting equipment. Start out with a Kloss Arion 660 harvester or tractor. Then we have a pair of Axion 870 medium tractors. What is interesting is one of them is a bit heavier than the other, so I'm starting to wonder if maybe one of these has wheel weights attached. We also have a Kloss Tryon 750 harvester. If you haven't been able to tell, we have a Kloss theme here on the farm. We have a Convo Flex 1080 grain header, and then that is paired up with the Nardi N6035 grain header. We have a pair of Rudolph trailers in the TDK 301 RP and the DK 280RL trailers. We have the Kuverlin EcoMat plow, the Lemkin Semgard 9500K cultivator. We have a Rebel Classic 600T disc harrow, the Pottinger TerraSim C6F seeder. We have the Amazon ZA TS3200 fertilizer spreader. And then we have the Pottinger front and butterfly mowers. We have the Kuhn GF8712 tedder. We have a Samez Z2 840H windrower. We have a Pottinger Impress 185 VC Pro brown baler and bale wrapper combo. We have the FarmTech DPW 1800 bale loading trailer. We have a Kloss front loader arms. We have front loader pallet forks, universal bucket manure fork, and a bale spike. Then we have, to round out the everything, we have a pair of 750 kilogram weights and a 600 kilogram Kloss weight. Wow, let's go ahead and make our way up to the farm, and then we'll do a little bit of a farm tour. Quickly tabbing, we have tabbed into one of our Kloss tractors, and you can see indeed the differences in the 870s is one is including a rear wheel weight, whereas the other one does not. And then we have our Arion there, and it also has some rear weights. This map does not include a farmhouse, so you will want to put down your own sleep trigger, should you so wish. Let's make our way over here. We have a fuel tank. Then one of our 2 large cow sheds here. This is of the feeding robot variety. So we have our area for silage, we have our area for straw, and our area for hay. Now, should we wish to feed manually, we can do so by just going inside of here and feeding manually. This is also where we are going to be blowing our straw. We have a slurry output there, and then we also have a slurry storage tank located right here. And we'll just come over here and just make sure that the cow barn capacity has not been changed. 80 cows in this particular facility. We have our milk trigger and then our manure heap located right there. Now, I will say, on this, you can sell all the buildings. With respect to, is the farm customizable? You can sell all the buildings, but the decorative elements remain on the map. So all of the decorative elements that you see here on the main farm, like this stack of kind of cages, they all remain on the farm, even if you sell the buildings. So our trailers and our bale trailers located over there. We have a very large 3-sided silage bunker here for our cows. All of our haymaking equipment is located right there. So these items here along the side of this building, they are going to remain even if we do sell this building. The steel here, this air pump, it is decorative. It remains. The steel. And then I believe there's some decorative items actually inside of this shed. They remain also. They're inside one of these sheds. They also remain if you sell the farm buildings. And we have our other feeding animal or cow barn located right here. Our slurry trigger. Again, our feed trigger is inside. 80 cows once again for this facility. Our milk and our manure heap. And that overall is the main farm here. So with respect to, can the farms be customized? Yes, except for the decorative elements. They are going to remain no matter what. So the map is going to get 3/4 of a point with that regard. And let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll fly around the map, come back to the shop, get in our Mahindra, and do the typical drive around. Get a little bit of altitude, and now we are looking basically due south to the southern edge of the map. Map's overall fairly flat. Lots of wide open spaces for the fields. Again, as I said in the intro, fields are all fairly irregular shaped. So this map may not be for you if you prefer to have yourself some nice rectangular shaped fields. There is really just one farm on this particular map. Now there is a large storage shed and silo directly south of the main farm, which is where we're going to go next. That is kind of an extension of this particular farmyard, but you could possibly look at it as a secondary farm area. So more of our farm machinery is located right there below. Then we have 2 more large sheds here that are tied to the farm, and then our farm silo. And once again, like I said, if you sell these sheds, all of the decorative elements remain, including these large stacks of cages. So while you can sell the buildings, it likely is probably best that you do not, because of the vast amount of decorative elements that remain after you sell the buildings. See, there's stacks all over the place, and you cannot get rid of those. There is our stone crusher below. Field 10 is 55 acres in size. We'll head over here to the northwest. This is where we're going to find fill triggers for seed, fertilizer, and lime. We also have our flour mill over here and 2 sell points. So we have fuel, seed, fertilizer, and lime. Then we have a sell point right here for fertilizer or seed. Oh, sorry, for grain. Let's go ahead and make a quick run down the western edge of the map. While we're doing that, let's take a look across the map. Big field 7 is 73.14 acres in size, and it kind of wraps around this road and forested area. Field 7, it continues directly out in front of us. Then we have field 8 located right here. Field 8 is 79.48 acres in size, so it does have a little bit of a rise to it. Off in the distance, we see the biogas plant. And then below here, we have liquid fill tanks for herbicide and liquid fertilizer to bulk buy. We also have a grain sell point. We have a fuel purchase trigger below, our cereal factory, and then more bulk buy line points, or bulk buy points for lime, seed, and fertilizer. Field 2 is 118 acres in size. This map is going to appeal to the player that is interested in large, irregularly shaped fields. Coming up to our biogas plant, we have 3 silage bunkers. We have 1 large 3-sided silage bunker and then 2 smaller 3-sided silage bunkers. We have a fuel storage, and then we have the large biogas plant located right there. There we have our dairy. Our bakery, which is where we start on the map. The bakery is located directly below. We have a biomass heating plant kind of buried back here in the woods. I want to make my way diagonally up here to the marker that's right by field 9, because that is what I thought was the train rental icon. But apparently, according to the description, the train is just decorative. So I'm not really sure what purpose this really does serve. I think possibly what was maybe meant by this is that there is not a train sell point. Let's see, we can rent the train for an hour right here. And we do have a train right there. It is loaded up with grain cars only. But that is a little confusing. I think possibly what it means is there isn't a grain sell point. Field 11 is 31.41 acres in size. And here we have our sugar mill. Our cereal factory. Additional large bulk areas for seed, lime, and fertilizer. Then we have our flour mill or grain mill. I thought we had... Oh, this is set up as a sell point. I was seeing the building that is typically the grain mill, and I got a little confusing. But this is set up as a sell point. That is the sell point located right there. We have our farmer's market sell point right below there. Our animal dealer, our carpentry. And then we are going to conclude our aerial tour here at the vehicle shop. So here at this point, we're going to go ahead and grab our Mahindra. We have a large area for our machinery to spawn in at, which is good to see, because we do have large fields on the map. Decent size area for machines to exit and enter the shop also. So we shouldn't run into issues where we can buy a large piece of machinery but are unable to get it out of the shop. We have seen that on some maps. And then we have our buy, sell, and trade trigger located right here. Let's get on with the drive around. We'll drive around to all of the various points of interest, and then we will conclude our tour. Our first point of interest will be the carpentry shop. Now, these roads are a little tight getting in and around. That might be the biggest point of contention with respect to large vehicles is these turns. Lots of 90-degree turns. So here we have the base game carpentry. So we have our interactive icon, we have our dump station, our log, cell trigger, and our pallet spawn point. Now, what's interesting is we have a carpentry that is going to take planks or logs and make them into furniture, but we do not have the ability to sell furniture on this map. So that has turned into a little bit of a problem as of late with maps that we have seen get released, is they have production that make outputs that you cannot sell. So we have our animal buy trigger located right there. And then we have our animal dealer sell point located right here. As far as other things on this map that we can produce but cannot sell, we have a cereal factory, but again, we cannot sell our cereal. So that, in my opinion, needs to be addressed in an update. Or, of course, you could always put down a a sell anything mod. So here we have our farmer's market. We have a dairy on the map, but we cannot sell chocolates. So dairies typically are going to also produce chocolates with sugar. So that is something that you may want to look into again before you go and make chocolates. Then we have our sell point there. A scale to go in and out of. The scale is fairly steep, so you may want to be careful. You're coming in there with semi-trailers that you don't get kind of high-centered on the scale ramp. And inside of here we have a very large area for our sugar mill. Now we do own all of this area because, as I said at the intro, we own all of the unbuyable land at the start. So we could possibly put other things in these large open areas should we so wish. So we have our dump station for our sugar mill, our interactive icon, and our pallet spawn point. We'll make our way across the northern edge of the map at this point. So let's do a rundown again of our production areas. We have 8 production areas on the map. We have a sugar mill, we have a grain mill, bakery, oil mill, cereal factory, carpentry, dairy, and a biogas plant. The map is going to get a full point with regard to having built-in production and or areas set aside for such. Although once we move down to the sell points, able to sell all of the base game products, production items, and animal outputs, we are a little bit shortened on what we can do. We cannot sell cotton, we cannot sell cakes, fabrics, clothes, cereal, chocolates, or furniture, which, as I just mentioned, is a little interesting because we do have a dairy on the map for chocolate. We also have a cereal factory, but we can't sell cereal. We have a bakery, but we cannot sell cakes. And we have a carpentry, but we cannot sell furniture. So those are things I would like to see fixed in an update. So the map is going to get a half of a point with regard to the ability to sell base game products, crops, and animal outputs. The farms can be customized. We can sell most of the buildings or all of the buildings, but what we cannot sell is we cannot sell the decorative items around the farm. And to that degree, that can be a little bit of a hindrance in how we can customize the farm areas going forward if we wish to swap out the buildings. So we are going to give the map 3/4 of a point. We're going to knock a little bit off as far as the farms being customizable because of the fact that we do not have the ability to sell the decorative bits. Here we are at the grain mill. We have our dump station, interactive icon, and pallet spawn point. We have a grain selling point. And then we have seed, lime, and fertilizer fill points, as well as a buy point for fuel. Some of these areas are a little tight with respect to their entrances and exits, so you may want to be a little careful for large trailers or maybe larger road train setups. I think this road is going to actually take us around to a field. An interesting setup of these rocks. Rocky road. Not a bad little shortcut there. So the only thing we are missing here is the silo and additional sheds we already kind of took a look at. Where we spawn into the map is at the bakery, which is located right here to our right. Now, the only thing the bakery is kind of missing is I was trying to see where our pallets are going to spawn point for the bakery. That is not super clearly marked. So we have our interactive icon right there. We have our dump station, but it's not really clear if our bakery pallets are going to spawn here or if they're going to spawn around the side here. We are missing the icon trigger tags, the corner markers, if you will, to really identify where those are going to be. So that is going to ultimately affect the score for the R trigger areas and player interactive areas clearly marked. This is going to take us back to the biomass heating plant. Right here, so we have our dump station around front. Our trigger to sell our logs. Oh. Hedges have collisions, everybody. Hedges have collisions. And speaking of being high-centered, we are high-centered. Let me take care of this real quick. Now that we've recovered from that little issue, let's go ahead and check out the biogas plant. So we have a large contractor shed here at the biogas plant. And then we have our digester dump station. We have our interactive icon at the door. We have our dump station for slurry. And then we have our fill pipe for digestate. Do have a fillable fuel tank, and then 3 large PGA bunkers. One located right there, right here, and right there. Need to double back to get to the dairy. There's a side road right there off the main road. Come around to get to our dairy. Now, with respect to our buildings, using the new texturing technique where possible, and yes, I do believe they are, we see lots of houses around on the map, and the houses are using the new window technique. And if you get close to them, the brickwork does appear to be using the new parallax occlusion methods. So there we have our interactive icon, our dump station, and our pallet spawn point here for the dairy. We have one more point of interest down here in the southwest corner of the map. Just wind our way by the biogas plant. So let's do a quick rundown of our map scoring to this point. We get a full point with respect to the 8 production areas built into the map. We're going to give the map a half a point with respect to the ability to sell base game products, crops, and animal output. 3/4 of a point is going to go to the farms being customizable because we cannot sell the decorative elements that are at the farm. We are going to give a map a full point on the using the new texturing techniques with respect to the ground textures and the building textures. And we're going to give the map 3/4 of a point for the player in interactive icons being clearly marked. For the most part, they are, but they are missing at least down at the bakery, which really is a shame. So overall, the map is going to get a 4.0 out of 5. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below of the Mecklenburg Lake District. So here we have our grain sell point. We have herbicide and liquid fertilizer fill points here. We do have a diesel fill point, also located at this sell point. And then right across the street, we have our oil mill. This is base game oil mill, so we have our pallet spawn point, our dump station, and our interactive trigger there at the side door. And one more time, we have bulk fill points for lime, fertilizer, and seed. So guys, that is the Mecklenburg Lake District map. As I said earlier, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the map itself? What do you think of the large, irregularly shaped fields? And until next time, happy farming.